reminder, we got the mic over there. If you would please just raise your hand, and we'll take questions for Coach Kingsbury.
Coach, a few things starting off. One, your thoughts on Coach Wood's tackle on the field last one?
Yeah, I was glad he didn't snap the guy's neck. I thought he was going to have flashbacks and we are going to be in trouble. But just a good American doing his duty to the country, I guess.
Can you update us on the status of your quarterbacks for this week?
Yeah, Allen is still in the hospital receiving treatment, and that's kind of where we're at.
Do you anticipate possibly dressing Colt or?
Yeah, Colt dresses every week. So he'll be out there.
Have you communicated with Allen at all since Sunday? Have you gone to visit him, talked with him?
No, just we just use him when he's on the field, and then if he's in the hospital, he's on his own. So it's been went over there and saw him after the game, and constant communication to make sure he's okay. He's doing. I mean, you know, on his he's a competitor, so it's tough. It's two times in a row he's had extended time sitting there in the hospital. He wants to be with his teammates, wants to continue to play. So his teammates have done a good job going to see him. Kirby's gone by there at President Scuba Neck, which I appreciate those guys greatly for that. And he's keeping the spirits up. But we've been in communication.
Is it like a timetable when he'll be out of the hospital?
We're hoping. I don't want to jump the gun, but we're hoping tomorrow if everything keeps going the way it is.
And how do you think Jet's been progressing, like after the Oklahoma game? But do you think that he's shown a lot of improvement this season?
He has. I saw him turn a corner after the TCU game. He dealt with a lot of adversity in that game and came back in and found a way to win and lead his team to a road victory in the Big 12, which is hard to do. And so I thought he'd practiced really well up until last week. Again, you know, when we had the little lull in the third quarter, that was more on me not having plays ready. You know, I didn't know at halftime that Allen wouldn't be back. Allen thought he was going to be back. And so I should have had a better plan in place to get Jack going early. But I thought he competed well in that fourth quarter, and we got to carry that over into this week.
How's his leadership in the locker room?
It's great. I mean, guys like him. He's got a great personality. He's always smiling, always into it, works hard at his craft. So he has a good rapport with his teammates.
Coach, this is an injury that he'll just have to play through and can't fully heal until the off season since he re-aggravated the original one. Do you know the status on that?
On Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really sure on the details. You know, they just want to make sure he's healthy, and we'll talk through that once he gets out. But I don't know the exact timetable or process or the steps we go from here.
So if anything were to happen with Jet on Saturday?
Yeah, we'll see. We're working through that to see who's healthy and who's not. But I don't have an answer for you right now.
And then with kind of how fired up and heated this type of rivalry game you get, have you had to address, since it's kind of been in the news this past weekend, the kind of horn down thing that everyone seems to do?
Yeah, we addressed it last year. I mean, we had a costly penalty doing that last year on the road, and you can't do that against a quality football team and cost yourself 15 yards on a kickoff or wherever it may be. So we won't be doing that.
How do you approach that with a game like this where there's so many, like the guys we talked to earlier, so many people that have family members that either went to UT or they've rooted for them before they came here, players like John Bonney that came from there. There's just so many connections there. Is it different than another week in that way that there are just so many connections with your players to that team?
Yeah, no question. Anytime you play another in-state school, you're going to have that, whether it's Baylor, TCU, or Texas. Played against them in high school, you know of them through the recruiting process. And so there's a little added incentive, a little extra rivalry, and we know what this game has meant to our fans for a long time. And so there's definitely more to it. So you got to control your emotions, keep the focus, and make sure you do everything during the week that you've done previously.
Coach, what's Dakota's status right now?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. He's day to day. It's the best I can give, and we probably won't know till Saturday if he can go.
Is that his knee that was bothering him in the game?
Yeah, it was some sort of knee issue.
Sam Ellinger runs the ball too, just like Kyler, but what's
Not
the difference?
like
Kyler, but what's the difference between those two? Not at all.
Yeah, he's a tough down the hill, Tebow type. He'll run you over. I mean, he's a physical player for that position. Tough young man. shiftier than you think. You know, Kyler's all full out speed, finds a soft spot. He's hard to hit. I mean, you're going to hit Ellinger, but he's going to hit you back. And you know, I'm very impressed by the way he plays the game and his toughness, the way he leads that team. They feed off the way he plays, and that's a credit to him and, you know, the way he was raised and the type of competitor he is.
What do you think about the guys he has to throw to this week?
Yeah, they're special. Really been impressed by Humphrey and you know, the progression he's made from last year to this year. I mean, he's all over the place, going up and high pointing footballs, making plays for them everywhere. And you know, I think it's Johnson, the other guy, 6'6". You know, he made some big plays against us last year. Duvernay's one of the fastest players in the conference. So tons of weapons, great running backs. You know, the O-line's playing at a high level. They're scoring a bunch of points on offense, and you can see why.
You mentioned Sam's running, but how much has he improved as a thrower?
Yeah, he's making plays with his feet and his arm, and so you got to give their coaches, Coach Beck, Coach Herman, a ton of credit for the development, the progression that he's taken in year two. It's a credit to the coaching staff and then to Ellinger's hard work and dedication to that craft.
Cliff, what does McLean Carter look like in practice last week, and to what extent is that ankle still bothering him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not 100%, I'd say, but we're getting there. I like the progress we've made. Will he be able to go Saturday? I'm not sure, but I like the progress being made. So I'm hopeful.
So who is getting most of the second
He's
reps?
getting most of them.
Him
yeah.
primarily. With John Bonney here now, how much, since he's a former Texas player, how much can the coaches pick his brain, or is that overrated since you guys have watched all the Texas tape?
Yeah, I won't
all
have
year?
a conversation with him about that. That's not, you know, in our best interest. I wouldn't put the kid in that situation. He has a ton of respect for his coaching staff and his teammates, and that's not something that we'd ever do. I mean, we're going to watch the tape and game plan and prepare to go against a really good defense, but we won't even have a conversation about it.
And off of that, Bonnie doesn't seem like a player who gets, you know, too overhyped for games or anything like that. But with a game like this, do you think it could be different for him? Is that something you guys think you'll address, or how do you think he'll handle that?
Yeah, he's mild-mannered, very smart, you know, kind of sees everything and doesn't overreact, but it'll be bittersweet. I mean, he has great relationships with some of the best friends that he'll have for the rest of his life. He respects and admires those coaches and that university, and so having talked to him, you know, he loved his experience. He's a great representative for them, great representative for us. I think it just says more about the kid than anything, the impact he's made on our program and their program. To be able to do that says a lot about the type of person he is.
You talked about McLean winning the TCU game, kind of tweak that angle again. Y'all just didn't communicate properly. What kind of strides have you made kind of so that you know whether or not?
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to be honest. Like, we don't have time for the tough guy. Yeah, coach, I got you. I'm good. And then you go in and you're not good, you know. And so I think it's just open and honest communication. Like, I appreciate you trying to say you can go, but if you can't go, I need to know that because we got to make other, you know, people available. And so that was it. And we've had good lines of communication. I know exactly where he's at, and so we'll see if he can go Saturday.
Coach, with you and the coaching staff, every game is the same. It's really just focusing on the next one. But for the fan base, what does a win against Texas really mean to Texas Tech, to this fan base in general?
Yeah, anytime, like I've said, anytime you're playing in-state teams, there's a little something extra. It's your neighbors, it's your friends, it's people you grew up with who went to different schools, and so there's always bragging rights for that year, and that's Texas is a football state, and everybody's really proud of their football teams and the universities that they went to, and so I think more than anything, it's just bragging rights and you know, the fun rivalries in-state.
What about that defense, do you think, that Texas defense, do you think could really pose problems for your offense?
Yeah, I mean, all of it. You know, they're a senior-laden group. They played a lot of football. You look at their front, people were having a hard time running the football against them. You know, Will Greer took a monster performance, and he was on the money last week to do what they did and pull that victory out. But it's a really good group, great playmakers. I think Coach Orlando has done a tremendous job. They play really hard. They all fly to the football. Schematically, he keeps you on your heels doing different things, and we'll have our hands full.
Coach, you mentioned that it's always hard to win on the road in the Big 12, but in this series, all four of the last four games, it's been the road team that has picked up that victory. What about that makes that different than everything else in the Big 12, if you had to guess?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's familiarity with each other, the kids knowing each other so well that they just roll the ball out there and go play, and they go play out in that field right there if they had to. I'm not sure why, but it is a unique circumstance that's happened 4 years in a row.
Coach, given the struggles at home in the Big 12, does it add added importance to get the win on senior day, the last home game?
Yeah, I think more than anything, just for the seniors, you want them to have that moment, that memory. It's 3 of those guys have been here every day I've been here. We have a lot of fifth-year seniors that have been through some ups and downs, gone through a lot to get back to where they're at. And so it's really important to us as a program that we try to send them out the right way and do everything in our power for them to have one more great memory in Jones Stadium.
And then Daleon Ward had a really good game last week. Just how's he progressing?
Yeah, I think that was what all of us, y'all included, expected throughout the year. And after the week 1, when he tweaked that groin, he just hadn't really had that same first step explosiveness, and that showed back up on Saturday. And so he's a guy, when we can get him going like that, it obviously makes our entire offense better, and you saw that on Saturday night.
Is Trey King in the mix physically, or is he available?
We're going to see. He wasn't, the last couple of weeks with that knee, just not feeling where it needed to be, and we're going to see if we can get him going this week.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kliff, with the plays that Thomas Leggett's made on special teams the last couple of weeks, obviously you're going to be missing some safeties next year. Do you think Thomas will be able to translate what he's done on special teams into playing defense?
Yeah, I hope so. I felt like he was the guy who really emerged for us in the spring. We have veterans there at safety, and so he hasn't played as much as he probably would like or we'd like him to, but I expect him being one of the front runners to take over one of those spots moving into spring football.
And with Dakota's uncertain status, are y'all facing a decision on Braden Stringer about you have wanted to redshirt him? I think he has 1 game left to play.
Yeah, I think we're going to do what's best for Braden, and if we got to use that 1 game this week, then we'll find a way for him to keep his red shirt and mix in. Christians should be back soon, and Poe has some games to use, and so we're going to find a way to do right by Braden.
So you're
Playing
still
on
pretty
red shirt, right.
so you're committed to that.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Is Connor Killian, any chance he plays?
I don't think he'll play this week. He's still working through that foot injury.
What's the status of Mason Reed? Is he in the mix there?
Yeah, we're going to see if we can get Mason going a little bit. He's a guy who we felt like Dante and Tyler and Connor had stepped up, but we're going to see if we can get Mason going over these last 3 weeks with Connor going down.
So it wasn't a physical thing with Mason previously this year?
No, nothing major. Just we felt like those guys have kind of emerged a little bit.
Okay.
Coach, going back to the quarterback switch play calling, how different as a play caller is it when you're calling a play for Bowen versus when you're calling one for Jet?
Yeah, it's you have to understand the reps that each guy gets, and Bowman's we try to get everybody a ton of reps at that position, but Bowman's gonna get the majority, and I just needed to call things to get him into more of a rhythm, needed to have better communication. Like I wish I would have known at halftime, so I could have sat down, what do you like, what are we doing? But it was kind of one of those things right before we kicked off, hey, Allen's not gonna go. And so I should have found a way to have better plays ready, but it changes simply because all week what your starter loves and wants, because he's getting the majority of the reps, and you really don't know, to an extent what Jet loves or wants. I mean, we have him circle his plays every week. Hey, if you go in, what do you like? But the lines of communication aren't as much as you have with your starter.
Coach, just on that note, I guess how difficult has it been just as a play caller having to kind of deal with 3 starting quarterbacks and sometimes even at halftime not knowing if you're going to have something kind of come in?
Yeah, I mean, it's all those guys can operate. You just, like I said, I'm big on getting in those guys' heads throughout the week and picking their brain and trying to get on the same page. I mean, you don't do that. You don't have time to really do that with one guy. You put your focus on him, and when the other guy comes in, you try to kind of get it going on the sideline. But that's the only difficulty, is not really knowing to what extent they're comfortable with this play or that play, and just trying to get them in a rhythm and trying to call things that they really do like.
Going off that mental aspect of the game, is it difficult to keep your team progressing, having key players banged up right now? And how do these guys take that challenge?
Yeah, I think they've been good. They've had a real next man up attitude. You know, the week before you lose Jordan Brooks first quarter, and then you lose the coach in the first quarter, and you lose your quarterback at halftime. I mean, those are really, really good players for our football team. But I've been proud of the way the backups have stepped in and been prepared and not blinked and gave us a chance to win in the Big 12, which isn't easy to do.
Anything else?
Sorry if this is already asked.
Oh, you're
but what's Jet improved the most in so far? I mean, I know
Yeah,
he's
I
been
think-
kind of spotty other than the TCU game. What does he improve?
Yeah, I think just the operation. You know, I want to get Jet to a point where he's so comfortable he's playing like he played in high school, where he's free and he's making plays and running around at times, and he knows this. You know, he's too robotic on our system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not his game. You know, get back to being a field player. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, work your magic. And I think you've seen some of that at times. But if we can get him so comfortable with the system where he's just playing and not thinking so much, that's when he's going to take that next step.
Other than his running ability, what would you consider his greatest strength to be?
I mean, he's a dynamic thrower. I mean, he can push the ball 75, 80 yards down the field. He's very, very accurate, quick release, doesn't have to get from a great platform to throw it and throw it a long ways. And so I think he has dynamic arm talent as well.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.